will be shared with anybody who's watching this on the video side. So welcome. I'm super excited because I'm always excited actually to do this ritual. You know why? Because it means that it's Friday. And even though many of us do work on the weekend instead of for the weekend, like Loverboy would suggest, um, you know, we still celebrate Friday because it's closure and you get less emails, that kind of thing. Um, and so yay, it's Friday and it is the last Friday of my maternity leave. Woo! Kind of tears, kind of excited. Um,
Nice.
One of the reasons I'm really excited is because, and this is pertinent to this space, is because my schedule is going to be massively different going to work. And one of the things about me that you may not know is that I really like newness. I like variety. I like to change things up. It's one of the reasons I went into the profession I went into because we change things up all of the time. And honestly, I was getting a little bored of my schedule. And that was one of the big reasons I was excited about maternity leave is because I could build my schedule from nothing coming back. And I was like, Psh, instead of letting people go, right? It's more like, oh, like I can't do mornings or I can't do this, and so it's just a different energy. And I get to ask myself, like, okay, well, what would I want my schedule to look like with the new kid, with all of my other projects? And it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, isn't it? She agrees with me. And so I'm actually excited to start to wade in those waters. So that's the context here for me. Since I shared and we have a small group, anybody have anything they want to share that they're excited about coming up in the month of May?
I'm trying to think of stuff, but I'm just happy that it's May. I'm like personally, I'm just like I'm ready for April to be over, and May is gonna be a little bit of a whirlwind as well for people who are doing last minute taxes. But I will be glad because once May's over, I get to go on vacation. So I have 1 month left till
Yay!
vacation. That's what I care about
And taxes are what, filed May 15th?
right now. 17th, May 17th.
17th.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, cool. Just a reminder to everybody out
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Get your taxes done.
Get it done.
I Yeah, I know. My accountant Michael sent me mine, and Mark and I just have to sign and send it back, and we're done.
Nice.
So yeah, we're excited. Any Hoosier. So let's go ahead and jump in it, shall we? First of all, we are with the beginning of a new month. We're closing out an old one. We close one door, we open another, right? And we want to make sure that we're not like closing the door, like ah, pushing, like efforting, through it, or maybe like closing the door but not actually closing the door, like still leaving a foot in. So we want to make sure we get complete with the month we are about to close out. And what that means is just basically feeling freedom in moving forward. And so what does freedom feel like, I guess. I guess that's just what is freedom from what happened in April or what didn't happen in April going to feel like for you, and then moving in that direction. And we do that through a variety of ways, um, in this ritual and as human beings, right? We don't do all of the ways in this ritual. We wouldn't have time, to cater to every single personality. But we do three different methods that I think speak to different kinds of people um, across the board. And the first method we're going to play around in, which we play around in all of our rituals every single week, is journaling. And when we journal, when we can really get our thoughts out on paper, there's an opportunity to actually hear yourself in a way. The second, a second way that we do it is sharing, and I would say the same thing of sharing. It's just some of us are more audible and some of us are more, um, righty. I don't know. I am not on a script here. So yeah, so I want us to go ahead and take some time to journal to complete the month of April. Hopefully I've made it clear to you what completion is and why we do this. Um, so let's take a look at April. Take a moment now to look at what projects you planned on doing in April, what you wanted to get done. Maybe also take a look at some of the activities you did do, however you might do that, whether it's looking back on the calendar or looking back on old to-do lists. But take a moment just to reflect on April before you even start writing anything. Say, how did the month go? A lot of times I forget what happened. I forget what happened yesterday, you guys. So, like, take a moment to get reacquainted. Oh, yeah, remembering, like, okay, Easter happened. Totally even forgot about that. Vaccinations probably happened. Any birthdays? Big house projects you got, it's spring cleaning time. And now let's, for 3 minutes, take some time, pen to paper, pencil to paper, whatever it is you're using, or fingers to keyboard. 3 minutes of all of your successes, wins, growths, completions, ways you've grown, what you've gained in the month of April. So all of the from mildly awesome to like amazing kick-ass things that happen in the month of April. Go for it. right, whenever you're ready, you can start to wrap up your last thought. Now you can always add to this. I just put the time on it because that way we move on. Because I have so many successes in the month of April that I could just keep writing and writing, no big deal. A lot of mine, we're not sharing yet, but a lot of mine is about getting organized. So, I'm excited. Cool. Now let's reflect on the month of April and take a look at anything you like. Are there any cans you've been kicking down the road? Anything you're just putting off, anything you're procrastinating on, anything that like comes up for you that it's just like, I don't wanna, right? Or like, something you're just keep pushing, kicking down the road. It can be anything. A conversation with a friend or a family member for whatever reason. Sometimes like I'll be like, I really want to talk to this person, but I always end up being on the phone too long and I don't have an hour ever to talk. Stuff like that. And of course, projects, things with work, things around the house. Um, any cans you've been kicking? Let's think on that for about 90 seconds. And list them, if they're like really think on it because this is kind of like a little bit of a 3-step thing that I want to take us through here. Reading a book, maybe there's a book you've been meaning to read, a movie you've been meaning to watch. Think about leisure, think about spirituality, think about exercise, think about your eating, projects, boards you sit on. All right. Now, if you're still working on this, please stay here. Next step of this on like the procrastination front here. I want you to go through each one of your procrastinations and I want you to think about what is missing that would get you excited or just get you motivated, quote unquote, to do those things. What's missing that if it were present, and if, of course, like sometimes it's the answer is like money. If I had money, I would be able to do this thing, right? But think about what's missing more like something that you could bring in that like right now, you know. For example, one of mine is chat with Ayana. Um, I have this friend of mine who lives in Texas and they like we always chat on the phone for a long time. And so I avoid calling them because I just like, I just don't have time. I just don't have time. Right. And so like what's missing from that equation? Well, I could say, well, time is missing, but time's not missing, you know. But that could be an answer. Or I could say, well, what's missing is like a sense that I could have a quicker conversation. Like I could let go of that we're going to be on the phone for an hour and a half. So, take a look. And we'll give us maybe another 90 seconds on this. Hmm. Hmm. And if you have any questions about this one, let me know, because this can be like I'm getting stuck on one right now, and I'm just like, can see how this could be a tough exercise. And then if you're still working on this part, awesome, keep working on it. My last question is, what could you put in? It's a slightly different question than what's missing. What's missing and what could you put in? For the month of May, you could step into May and say, okay, I know what I'm going to try on. Hmm. Let's go ahead and wrap up the journaling now. Let me just, had a lot to say in this one. Geez. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. Anything you need to add at any point, please do. If you hear something in the sharing where you're like, yes, that's, so that's another nice piece of the sharing is you might hear somebody say something and be like, there we go. Now that's an idea. I can do that inside of this other issue. Because we're all, we're all sharing like the same stuff. We're all going through the same things. It just looks like different circumstances, a lot of the time. Um, it just reminded me of something kind of funny, but I'm not going to get into it. But let's take some shares. And Poppy, I know that you don't have a mic. Feel free to share whatever you like in the chat, and I'll make sure to read it and acknowledge it. Um, but since otherwise it's just myself or Kathy. Kathy, do you have anything that you want to share about the journaling? And to get the idea is that the sharing will help you get complete with your month of April.
Um, sure, I can. I'm happy to step in. I think a lot of what feels like procrastination on the things that I've got. So, like a couple of things are, the plan was to finish out my website this month and everything, and just finishing up a lot of paperwork, which is, it's kind of like filing for me. It's never been my favorite thing in the world to do. So part of my win in my procrastination are like, they're in my mind, they make sense, but they're also a challenge. So going from that concept of like, my big April win is that I actually went and got the emergency root canal. I took care of that stuff. I got that taken. I got that stuff done. I'm still going through all of that, but the difference is that I've had to choose the priority of my own physical health over worrying about my business. So taking away that, like what you said earlier today, we work on the weekends, and it's like, well, I'd rather work a 70-hour work week Monday through Friday than actually do physical like work on the weekends. And it's the same thing with all of this stuff that came up, but it pushed everything else down the road, because not only does it just take time out of your schedule to go to these appointments, as somebody who is sober and who doesn't drink and who doesn't take pills and any of that stuff, taking any of those pills knocked me out. And it really knocked me out for almost a week during one of, like, I was 20 minutes on the computer and then 2 hours off. And so I wasn't as productive and efficient as I could have been. And so I'm just sort of realigning all of that stuff again, because now that I'm on the back end of all that stuff, it's just more, I just got to get it done, even though I hate it. So my wins were, I still signed 2 new clients during all of that. And I took the time to heal. I took the time.
I forgot that I'm on mute. Woo!
Yeah, no, that's right. I know your face is like, but and the other part of that too is that even with that, I had to limit some of my workouts, but the workouts I did do were actually harder, and I was able to sustain that. And for me, a harder workout means I'm more tired at the end of the day, because I'm just like, oh my God, my body. So I had to choose what I was going to procrastinate on. So it was like a choice, and I still procrastinated on it. And now I'm like, oh, I gotta get that done. At the same token, I want to just find the balance in there. So what's missing for me in all of that is, what's the right balance for my life, and what's the right work-life balance, and the right, like, I always call it the big rocks. Like, what are the big rocks that mean the most right now to me? And some of those procrastination items are also, in my mind, not the biggest rocks. They're like there's big rock, then next rock. They're kind of the next rock. And I'm like, I think wait a little bit longer, And then at the same token, I've spent all this money. It's like, get your act together and get this taken care of. Let's just be done. So it's just sort of that balancing act with that. And like I said, there's, like, for me, I have to do my own taxes. I got to get all that taken care of. And I got to finish filling out some paperwork for some of my PPP stuff, and you know, those deadlines are coming.
For
And
sure.
what I want to do is not be stressed out while I'm getting all that pulled together. I don't want to be like, you had 3 months to do this and now you're doing it 2 days before it's due. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? I want to
Mhm.
get out of that system of high pressure, high stakes, and all right, well, and I can get it all done because I'm really good, but that's not a way to live. So that's where I'm finding my balance challenges. And so for me, like the overall of it is balance in that I don't 100% choose just like self care and not work, or 100% choose work and be like, okay, well, it takes an emergency for you to do self care.
Mhm.
So just sort of getting
Interesting.
into
Yeah.
those balanced areas.
Okay. Yeah. I can almost even like imagine the available tasks list, right? Being divided up into like big rocks, small rocks, gravel, water, right? And then like
Yeah,
you can like organize that
yeah, yeah.
accordingly. Yeah. That's an interesting idea. That could be a lot of fun. I mean, at the end of the ritual, we do prioritize the list on some level, but it's not
Hmm.
like super broken down. Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I kind of like that idea of sort of a hierarchy of priority
yeah. I
inside of
use
the stuff you
the
have
I
to
use
do.
the 7 habits of highly successful people
Is that
is
the
the
urgent and important?
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I look at certain things, I'm like, okay, is this important? And like the goal is to get everything into important and not urgent. So that way
Hmm.
you can just, check, 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 and not
Yeah.
be like, I got to get this done right now. Because
Yeah.
for me personally, when I rush too much, I always make a mistake.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't want to do
Well,
that.
and your line of work is also a lot more like detail oriented as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty meticulous. I would agree.
Hmm.
I would agree.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
sure.
Poppy has shared, and Poppy says, one of my things is a long, uncomfortable phone call. And it was such a light bulb moment, what you said about letting go of the assumption that it's going to be a long and uncomfortable. So, wanted to thank you for that. Oh, you're welcome. It seemed like April flew by and nothing got done, but reflecting the 3 minutes brought up tons of wins for me personally and artistically that I had not been recognizing. Yeah, there's work to be done, but it was a great month. I'm glad I can talk to my neighbors and stuff now, feeling less depressed in general, going out from time to time. My job changed drastically in April, and I spent about a week feeling like an incompetent, which is starting to fade and be replaced by understanding and positivity and remembering that I'm good at stuff. Yeah, that's great. And it's one of the big reasons we do the successes. It's real easy to think about all the shitty shit.
Yeah.
Shitty shit, shitty shit, uh and so that stopping and reflecting, it lights up our neocortex, which is the front side of our brain, which is what actually makes us uniquely human in the mammalian world. um the mammalian brain back here near our spinal cord uh, focuses on what didn't go right as a survival mechanism, and so it's not bad that we do that. It's just the way that we're built right now. We haven't evolved to have that more complex thinking, um, quite as immediate. But we just have to take that moment and step into it. So I'm glad that you discovered that, because you know a month is a long time to not have a win. Um, and so I would assert that most of us definitely have some wins. Um, Yeah, and I hear you on feeling less depressed, people being able to see each other a little bit more, and like the sun is out, it's awesome. So cool. For me, what I noticed in a lot of my procrastinations is that I like really have a lack of vision. And so, and actually as I'm sharing that, I'm recognizing that in our weekly rituals, the last 2, 3 weeks in a row, I've been doing the rituals for thriving, and every single week, visualize goes unchecked for me. So it's like I'm like not doing any visualizing of like what certain things would actually yield for me if I did them. And so um I think bringing in a visualization. I set a vision board. um and I was in a vision board workshop recently, and what I learned from that workshop, again, like the phone call, just it doesn't have to be anything special or like it just needs to be something that you put in front of you that allows you like a reminder of why you're doing what you're doing. And so uh and I still hadn't done it. I went to this three, like it was 3 days, not 3 days, but three, it was on 3 different days. I went to this workshop, this visualizing board workshop, because I was like, I should make a vision board, and because I never do. And so maybe a vision board should have gone on this, because this is all coming to me now as I share, which is why we do sharing. um and really like, and I guess what's missing in that, if I were to answer that question, what's missing in the conversation to create a vision board, is a belief that it actually works. Like, I'm a motivated person. I don't need like something to remind me what it could be created with something. Like, that's really what's there for me. That vision boards aren't something that's going to work for me. And so if I let go of that belief, and I brought in a belief that it could work, then what could that create? If I really believe vision boards could work, how fast would I have a vision board done? So yeah, you got something to say about that, Kathy?
I actually had a question about that. Like with a vision board, I've heard that people do it just once a year. Some people do it like once a month. Is it kind of the same thing where you just sort of, it sounds like it's goals related in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I got nowhere to hang anything and I'm not going to put anything out. You know what I mean? I don't need that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But for other people, that visualization is really important. Is it more the exercise of the vision board, do you think? Or is it more like being very specific about what you're looking to get to through that board?
Okay, so I'm gonna say one very like generic answer, and then I'll answer specifically to me.
Okay.
Generically, I think that it matters on the person. Depends on the person, right? For me, goals oriented.
Mhm.
Like goals, for sure, goals oriented. I would not spend my time making a vision board for like, I don't know, like what wouldn't be a goal, like a happy life. Like, of course, that's a goal of mine, but like, it's not like a
It's not specific enough.
measurable, specific
Yeah.
goal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But but for a measurable, specific goal, that's what I would do a vision board for. And I'll tell you what, the woman that ran this workshop, her vision board was on the wallpaper of her computer. And I was
Okay.
like, hey, because yeah, I was like, I'm not going to hang it up. Once I make it, I'm not going to hang it up, like,
I
so.
know, right? It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I like
totally.
that idea. So it would be okay. So then having it as the background.
Yep. Or you could put the background of your phone,
Yeah.
and again, it doesn't have to be anything complicated. It can be like 3 different pictures,
Mm-hmm.
or just a few words that like resonate with you. So interesting. Something for me to play with. Now, am I saying I'm going to make a vision board? No, but I might take some time to actually like visualize.
Yeah.
Take times for visualization and stuff like that. So yeah, cool. Well, I feel complete. I think. And then lastly, just inside of completion, for the month of April. And you may want to look if you've written down what your projects are for the month of April or whatever. You may want to take a look at those. But if there is anything that like a Hail Mary that you can like get in before tomorrow, which is May 1st, maybe you do that today. Maybe you do it tonight. So, take a moment. If there's anything like that, make a plan for it right now, and put it on your calendar. Text, so if it's a conversation with somebody, text them and say, hey, let's chat this time this day. Putting it into your future is also a way to get complete with that item, which is what's amazing about the time bender, right? We put things into our future so that we can like let go of that for our present. Taking a moment here. And you can take as much time as you need doing this. And if nobody on the live call right now has any objections to me declaring the month of April complete, awesome. I will go ahead. I'm just like pausing for Poppy just in case. I will go ahead and declare the month of April complete. All right. Woo! Awesome. Perfect. So now we can get into creation. All right. So in another part of your journal, however, and Poppy does say all done, smiley. And another part of your journal, the next page, or what I do is I do like a little squiggle line. Look at that squiggle. That is one hell of a squiggle if I've ever seen one. We're going to go ahead and create our month of May. Okay, so May, I don't know about y'all, but May is a wild ride of a month for me. Okay, it is a bunch of birthdays, anniversaries. My husband's birthday is in May, his brother's, his parents' anniversary. Now my sister's new partner, his birthday. Not to mention like the weather is sunnier, like everything is like opening up, I'm going to be mega eager. Oh, Mother's Day. And now that, totally forgot about that one. So let's take a moment, just like how I was doing. Take a moment.
Greek Easter is Sunday. So.
Greek Easter, if you celebrate that, we got to make sure we cover all the populations, right?
Listen, it's all about the lamb.
Yes, and so yeah, think on, take a moment, just like we reflected on April, take a moment and like future reflect on the month of May, just to get an idea of everything that goes on for you in May. I get my second vaccine shot in May, which I'm excited about. I think we're visiting my mom, all that kind of stuff. And now I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. And I want you to get into your journal. I want you to like cast yourself into the future. It is May, January, February, March, April, 31st. I don't know how many days are in May. It is May 31st. And you are doing your ritual here, your time bender ritual, whether it's in this space or otherwise. And you're looking back on your month of May. And you're like, hot damn. This was a good month. Like, I can't believe what I got done this month. In fact, I can't believe the results my actions yielded. Like, what an amazing month this was. Go ahead, standing in that place on May 30th. What happened in the month of May? 5 minutes, take your time, and give yourself an idea. What happened? Here we go. About halfway through. Go ahead and start to wrap it up. And I give just a little bit longer here. And you can always add to this, of course. But yeah, so for this next piece, a highlighter is oftentimes very helpful. I'll probably just underline because my highlighters are upstairs. I'm not going to go get them. But I want you to reread what you've written. And as you read what you've written, I want you to underline projects that are living inside of this writing. So a project is something that takes several tasks to do, to complete. Task, can be anything that can fit into a calendar. If it's something that would take you like 2 hours to 15 minutes, it doesn't matter. If it takes several steps to complete and it's outside of your basically your baseline level of activity, then it's a project. Baseline level of activity, what is that? Well, it kind of depends on what you consider sort of like almost like non-negotiables on your calendar. Like if you have a job, your job's not going to be a project. Now, could you have projects inside of your job? Yes. Yes. But going to work is probably not a project. It's kind of your baseline level of activity. We'll take working out, for example. For Kathy, she has a baseline level of activity to exercise 3 days a week. She doesn't really need to put it down as a project. However, if you're someone who hasn't been working out and you want to get into the habit of it, that might become a project. It's maybe the same action activity over and over again, but the fact of the matter is it's something that's over and over and over again. So that's going to be several tasks, right? Once it's habit, then it becomes part of your baseline. And that's the magic of the time bender ritual is you just start to expand your life and you start, oh, my baby's smiling at me. I love you. I love you. Everything just expands. And you're like, holy buckets, now I'm getting so much done. All this stuff that I had in my mind, I just didn't think that I had the space to do it. And when the thing starts to not become important to you or the project becomes complete or whatever, it moves out and makes space for the next. So I want you to go through, reread, and underline any projects you're identifying in your month of May. Once you've identified your projects in the month of May, I want you to, my baby is so cute, you guys. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, I'll show her real quick. Say hi, cutie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at you. Look at your cute little jeggings. Okay. That's enough, you guys. Anywho, take those projects and I want you to not break them down. I want you to kind of lift them out of your writing and create a portion of your journal where it's like a heading, like the project is a heading where you have space to sort of fill in what the tasks to complete that project are. Make sense? Okay. So in my book helps me actually visualize it. They here's where the project will go, and then they put a bunch of lines to for the tasks. If you are like, if your brain is rattling off tasks, so, get them listed under there. And I'm going to assert that you will add tasks to these projects as the month goes on. You'll learn through doing something that, oh, I need to do this other step, and I better write it down on my projects under that project so that it doesn't like go away. And also so it doesn't fill your your immediate space, right? So um so we're not gonna like thoroughly fill out the projects right now, but you're gonna get your headings done with space to fill tasks in. I hope I'm clear on this part. I was like, is this making any sense?
So one of mine is to like do a little spring cleaning. So that would be the projects, and then like start with the bedroom closets and then go through clothes, and you know what I mean? So each one of those would be the task underneath the overall heading of spring cleaning.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. Yep. I'll share one of mine because it's like I'm looking at something very differently right now, and I want to create like a more regular newsletter for both my companies, Comfy Fitness and Kimbra. And what I used to do, and I don't know how effective it really was, but what I used to do was I do Comfy Fitness, outreach, and Kimbra outreach, and I'd separate them into two separate projects. And now what I'm realizing is that I might just make it a project of like writing. Because another thing that I've been kind of avoiding is I'm part of a writing group that I don't do any writing for. I just show up because they're fun folk, and my husband writes a lot, and it's what we do on Friday nights. And I always show up with like empty-handed. I'm like, what if I like submitted my like blog writing to the group? Like I could submit anything I want. It's not like anybody's going to be mad at me because I'm submitting my blog writing. And then, like, oh, well, like what would that yield? Oh, wow. I'd have an immediate audience of people who could give me feedback about what I'm writing. Like, oh, I can't believe I didn't think of this before, right? And so my project's going to be writing, and then the tasks under that are going to be like, I want at least 3 times in the month a newsletter to go out for Kimbra. I want, Comfy Fitness. We have a boatload of stuff happening, so I'll have to suss that out. But yeah, so you can set up your projects any way you like. But that's kind of the idea. And then of course, if your brain is spouting off tasks to the project, go ahead and do that. You can do any of this work inside of this ritual at any time. If you're way behind me, if you're way ahead of me and you know what's coming, you know, I am not attached, so wherever you are is perfect. But now you have an idea of what your projects for the month of May are. From here, again, if you're still working on this, please keep working on this part if that's where you want to be. From here, we're going to kind of change gears a little bit and we're going to start combing through our first week of May. Is mommy funny? And how we're going to do that is essentially taking, because the weeks, even though it's a new month, like week to week to week to week, it doesn't matter, you're still in your life, right? And so I want you to look at the week that is just passed. If you have an available tasks list, and you probably do if you're a regular ritual goer of this ritual, but if you already have a task list or you have a to-do list, like a running to-do list, go ahead, and anything that still needs to get done from this previous week, I want you to create a new list for the new week upcoming. So go ahead, transfer your old, whatever's undone, to your new available tasks list now, if you're ready to move on. Now, if you're still building out projects, please do that. Now, if you've done copied what needs to get done, from that you left undone from the last week, and your brain is generating things that you need to do for the new week, please write those down in your available tasks list. Don't leave them behind. And then, of course, the projects list, the projects that we've just created, make sure any tasks that need to get done to further your projects get on that available task list. Now, tasks that can be done next week just stays on your projects list. You want to bring in the tasks that have to happen this week in order to progress that project. Don't find yourself putting all of your project tasks into this week's available tasks list. You want to make sure you're breaking these things down. What's the matter, boo-boo? So you're either still creating your projects for the month of May, You're creating your tasks list for the first week of May. And next, going to your digital or your paper calendar, whichever one you use. I saw a great paper calendar over the weekend. My friend Anna visited me from Milwaukee and she showed me her planner and it was amazing. And she keeps a paper calendar instead of a digital one. I do digital. But whatever calendar you're using, go into it and for at least next week, start to fill in any appointments with yourself or anybody else into that calendar if it's not already in existence on your calendar. So start to fill in your actual calendar. Now it's a new month. If you're bringing in something like, say, working out, or maybe it's prepping your meals, or for me, it's writing a weekly sort of like thoughts from Kira for my fitness company. You may want to put something on repeat if you're using a digital calendar. That's what I love about digital calendars is you can put the stuff on repeat. So if that's part of filling out your calendar right now, do that also. Get yourself set up for the month also. But really the most important thing is that your next week's calendar has it's true to itself. What you're doing with yourself and other people are on that calendar. So that'll be the next step. Wherever you are is perfect. You're either building out your projects, you are filling in your available tasks for the first week of May. You're building out your calendar. I want you to take a look at that calendar next step. And if there's anybody you need to get in communication with about your calendar, go ahead and reach out to those people. Text them. Sometimes people need to be called. You need to call someone. But now would be the time. Just make sure you're getting into communication with anybody that needs to be confirmed, followed up with, rescheduled, canceled, any of that stuff. All right, so you've gotten in communication with people. So you're building out your projects, your available tasks for next week. Let me get in the picture. Your available tasks for next week, or you are building out your calendar for next week or the month. If you're going to put things on repeat, you can do that. If you're using a digital calendar, now would be a great time to do that. You are getting into communication with people who need to be communicated with around your calendar. And then the last piece is the prioritization piece. And what I find is that everybody sort of has their own methodology with prioritization in general. Um, but what I used to say is like 1 to 3 things that need to be prioritized into your calendar. Go ahead. I usually star them on my available tasks list and then go and put them into my calendar. Now I do something called the one thing where I look at my available tasks and I think about, okay, what are the priorities? And then I look at my calendar and I strategize one thing a day that, like, if I could get that one thing done, I'd feel really great about the day. Kind of conversation that goes on in my head. So again, there are all kinds of different methodologies to prioritizing what's on your available task. Kathy and I were talking about big rock, little rock, gravel, water, urgent, urgent, and important, important. Those kinds of things from Stephen Covey's book, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Um, However you want to prioritize your available tasks list, get it prioritized and get that organization going now as well. And again, if you're at any other part of the ritual, for people who don't join the ritual on a regular basis, um, you might be working a little more slowly than people who do. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. What's really nice also is that you are on our mailing list and you will get the video of this, and you can always go back and be like, now what are the steps of the ritual again? Like, I had to stop here because this was a big piece for me. A lot of times it's the building out of the calendar. That's like where a lot of people frequently like, oh, this is going to take a little bit of time, and that's okay. But wherever you are is perfect. Just know, get your stuff prioritized in some sort of fashion. Take time to do that, or to do whatever it is you're doing right now. All right. And just I know she is not happy. Look at this. Look at this little face. Even when she cries, she's so cute. Oh, baby. All right. And we have 5 minutes left of our ritual today. And I just wanted to make sure with these final 5 minutes to really plug what it is we're doing at Kimbra and really the guidelines that we follow as like a company and what we try to really impart on our members. Um, and so I want to share that with you guys through something that we call the 5 guidelines for prosperity. Oh, and you're going to have a baby crying the whole time while I read these off to you, right? Oh, sweetheart. So, guideline number 1 for prosperity inside of what we do at Kimbra is you want to be creating a money, communication, and time ritual for your businesses and your life. And you want to make sure that there's something that you really look forward to doing. The reason you want to make sure you look forward to doing the rituals is so that you do them. It should be time about you, but time that you're also like getting shit done. And you want to ritualize them the way that we do inside of these spaces. So Monday night, we have our money whisperer ritual that's actually led by Kathy, who's on the call. Um, and inside of that space, you have an opportunity to get into communication who need to, with people who need to be communicated with in regards to money stuff, whether it's billing people, whether it's canceling a subscription, whether it's, telling your cousin, Yolanda, that you will get that money that you owe her to her by this time. There's all kinds of things that we put off in the realm of money that if we didn't do it, like budgeting, so budgeting something that you guys that they do in that space, you would probably far more prosperous inside of that topic of money. Same with communication, leads for businesses, that kind of thing. And then of course what we do here in the time bender. So make rituals for those things in your life and make them something you look forward to. Our second guideline for prosperity is to be malleable with your structures. You want to make sure, remember when I was talking about how we expand, you want to make sure that your structures, that you are malleable with them, because you will be expanding and you will be shrinking at times in your life. And you want to make sure that you are available to change the structures that you're working in. You don't get stuck on, well, this is the way I do it. Because sometimes things change. One of the only things in life you can guarantee is that things will change. Isn't that right, my child? Next is be committed to the outcomes, not attached to what the journey looks like. So it's kind of similar in the being malleable with your structures, not being attached to how you do things, but really knowing like that vision that I was talking about earlier in the call, knowing what your outcome is and that being the thing that you are really committed to, not attachment to the journey. Hi, boo boo. Oh, sweetie. And then, number 4 is take what works for you and just let go of the rest. So if there's something we did inside of this ritual structure or another one that just didn't resonate with you, then let it go. Put it in your back pocket. Once your life changes, maybe it'll be useful, but sometimes things are just not useful in the moment. So take what works for you and just kind of scooch aside the rest. And then lastly, you want to be operating from that time is finite. You want to bend it wisely. Money is infinite. Whisper from abundance. And communication is magic. It's what makes the rain. And those are the 3 rituals. Monday night's money whisperer. Wednesday night at 5:30 Central time is Rainmaker, the communication and leads ritual. And then every Friday at 3:30, I do Time Bender, which is where you are right now. And what we do is we bend the time together, and we all celebrate our successes together And it's a really, really great community to be able to work with and be with. Um, Especially if you're looking for community inside of these things. Um, the cost of our offerings is $30.99 a month. Um, and after 6 months, that price does go up. We want to give people an opportunity to really build inside of that reduced rate. And then we also do a 14-day trial. And inside of that trial, you can, and inside of any of the rituals, you can try whatever you like. You don't have to be at all three. I would recommend just picking one and really sticking to it, and then seeing what that yields for you. Um, so that's what we do at Kimbra. Yay. If you have any questions or you want more information, you can email us at info@thekimbra.com, TheKimbra. And we'd be happy to answer any questions. If you just want to go ahead and sign up, go to our website, thekimbra.com, and get yourself signed up for your trial, okay? So this baby is not having it anymore. My husband texted me and he's in traffic right now. And so this is my lot. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now. I'll take any questions from anybody in that's on live. Otherwise, okay, bye.